Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good day. Selamat datang and welcome to MAHSA International Sustainable Infrastructure Technology and Environment Conference, MySite 2021. This conference is organized by Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University. I am Noor Rashida, lecturer in the respected faculty, and I will be your host for this morning session. We are honored to have each and every one of you here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, MAHSA 2021 aims to bring together academicians, researchers, and industrial professionals from all over the world to share their experiences in the field of civil engineering, construction, and built environment. It provides a platform for researchers, educators, and students to present and discuss the most recent innovations, practical challenge, and solutions adopted in above fields. The theme of MySite 2021 is Sustainable Environment and Green Technology towards IR 4.0. To begin this event, we are pleased to have Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Ikram Shah bin Ismail, Vice Chancellor, MAHSA University. Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. Sri Kumar Chakravarti, Director of Research, Innovations and Postgraduate Studies, MAHSA University. Yang Berbahagia Profesor Dr. A.R. Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman, Advisor, Architecture Technological Program, Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University. Yang Berusaha Dr. Peter Gombera, Group Head of Global Real Estate, Kinetic UK. Yang Berusaha Dr. Iman Farshi, Dean of Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University. Yang Berusaha Mr. Sharoni Muhammad Siddiq, Conference Chair, Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University, and all respected guests. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Dr. Muhammad Hushni bin Harun to recite dua. Please welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Noor Rashida. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah ya Rahim, praise be to God, the Lord of the worlds. Peace and blessing be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and for those who follow his example till the judgment day. Allahumma ya Allah, on this blessing morning, in conjunction with the MAHSA International Sustainable Infrastructure Technology and Environment Conference 2021, we beseech thee and grateful towards you in favor of all the infinite blessing to us, your humble servants, to live in safe and prosperous life. We seek your blessing for a flawless progress of this event from the beginning till the end. We seek your guidance to stay clear of the event that would detrimental the progress of this event. Ya Latif, Ya Rahman, please bless us with your tawfiq and hidayah. Please guide MAHSA University to greatness, peace, glory, and prosperity in this world and hereafter. Make us responsible intellectual, grant us with a valuable knowledge that will be beneficial to mankind. In order to gain your mardatillah, make us your righteous servant that follow your commands and neglect the sinful act. Please forgive us for our wrongdoing. Ya Munzilal Barakah, bestow peace to our beloved country Malaysia, preserve us from any threat and disaster, neither man-made nor natural disaster. And to you, Ya Allah, we ask for security and prosperity upon us, our leaders and our country. Bestow passion in us in order to face the challenges from you. Please accept our deeds and please reward us accordingly. Rabbana alaika tawakkalna wa ilaika adamna wa ilaikal masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Dr. Husni. Next, let us all welcome Yang Berusaha Dr. Iman Farshi, Dean of Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, for his welcoming speech. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rashida. Appreciate it. Good morning, all. Welcome to MAHSA International Sustainable Infrastructure, Technology and Environment Conference, MySite 2021. Honorable guest, honorable patron, Prof. Tanseri Dr. Muhammad Hanifa, Chief Patron, Dr. Sharil bin Prof. Tanseri Dr. Muhammad Hanifa, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Prof. Dr. Ikram Shah bin Ismail, our Honorable Senior Director, Associate Professor Ala Kasavar Rao, our Director of the Postgraduate Studies and Research, MAHSA Universities, Prof. Dr. Seri Kumar Chakrawati, our distinguished guests and speakers, Prof. Dr. A.R. Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman, our special guest, Dr. Peter Gambara, Group Head of Global Real Estates, all the deans, directors, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conference today. This is our second conference of our Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment for 2021. The first one we conducted about a month ago, which was all focusing on the engineering and IR 4.0 concepts. And this one we were hoping that we can conduct it in face-to-face, but unfortunately, due to this pandemic situation, still we have to run this conference in the online mode. It's okay, it's fine, because it's exactly in line with our concept, which is mainly IR 4.0 and green technologies there. So today's conference is about MAHSA International Sustainable Infrastructure, Technology and Environment, mainly focused on the civil engineering and built environment matters. It is in line with our current niche of the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, which is focusing on the mainly built environment and green technologies matter. And recently also we add the new programs due to this niche, which is architecture technology, to our faculty and our programs. As you can see, architecture technology is quite innovative and new programs in Malaysia. We don't want to just see on the concept of the traditional design. However, by adding this technology part to our architecture design, we want to focus more on how IR 4.0 and the new concept of the green technology can add it to the traditional concept and design to make sure that we have a sustainable environment and we make sure that we are ready for future generation. So in this case, today our conference tracks is more about building information modeling, which is very concept that our faculty nowadays is moving on that. Building automation system, environment pollutions, civil engineers concepts, environment sustainability, green materials, as well as we add to this green technologies is IR 4.0 concepts and sustainable buildings and green smart construction basically, as well as 3D printing concept. As you know, our faculties, as part of the vision mission of MAHSA University, we recently developed our 3D printer labs, and we are working on this additive manufacturing very hardly to make sure we exactly follow our vision and mission, and we make sure that our students and our generation now they gain the maximum positive concept from this niche to make sure that we have sustainable development. So I'm pretty sure by today discussion of all our presenters, which is mostly from industry and academic, focus on all this new green technology concept, adding with IR 4.0 and construction technology to make sure that everyone gain all the positive points here. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure all the presenters will share the knowledge to make sure that everything's understandable and we make sure that our platform is ready. So we are really working hard on that, as our current collaboration with various universities such as UITM, various industries partners such as the main construction which is going on MAHSA hospital projects and our eco village MAHSAs from MAHSA universities, all in line with this conference theme. So once again, I would like to appreciate all the members and all the participants for this conference that make this conference possible and hopefully successful even by today. I really appreciate all the presenters. I really appreciate our conference chairs, Mr. Sharoni, and all our members of this conference from Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University. Also, I really appreciate the MAHSA Academic team that they really help us for the conference to make sure that everything's going on well. Although we faced many difficulties during this pandemic situation and online conferences. So once again, thank you all. I wish you all a very productive day. Thank you for joining our conference, and I wish you enjoy today's conference on International Sustainable Infrastructure Technology and Environment Conference 2021, or MAHSA 2021. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Iman. Okay, next, I would like to welcome Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Dr. Ikram Shah bin Ismail, Vice Chancellor MAHSA University, for his speech. Please welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Rashida. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Prof. Sri and Dr. Iman, and all the participants. Welcome to the MAHSA International Sustainable Infrastructure Technology and Environment Conference 2021, or MAHSA 2021. This conference is organized by Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. MAHSA 2021 aims to bring together academicians, researchers, and industrial professionals from all over the world to share their experiences in the field of civil engineering, construction, and built environment. It provides a platform for researchers and educators and students to present and discuss the most recent innovations, practical challenges, and solutions adopted in their fields. This conference is conducted entirely online in view of the raging pandemic, but I hope this will not deter any fruitful discussion that will follow. The theme for this conference is Sustainable Environment and Green Technology towards IR 4.0. As the theme suggests, the conference is to encourage the research and innovate ideas that focuses on sustainable environment and green technology towards IR 4.0 in the field of civil engineering, construction, and built environment. The topics of interest for submission includes building automation system, building information modeling, green building technology, green materials, smart and advanced materials, sustainable development, sustainable building, and other interesting topics. We have several eminent speakers for this conference. I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Peter Gombera, Group Head of Global Real Estate, Kinetic, UK. He's a fellow of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. I would also like to welcome our keynote speaker and a dear friend, Professor Dr. Architect Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman, who has done notable research in areas of integrated energy building design, green building index, and passive solar design elements. Prof. Malik is very passionate and he will go on and on about his research areas if you allow him to. I firmly believe that this conference will eventually facilitate and enhance local and international networking for students and staff and provide research and innovation opportunities at all levels. I hope all of you take this opportunity to network virtually and create new knowledge centers leading to excellence in education and research, ultimately benefiting the industry and society at large. Finally, I would like to congratulate the organizing committee under the able leadership of Dr. Iman Farshi, the Dean of Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, and Mr. Sharonim bin Siddiq, the conference chair from the same faculty. And I also like to congratulate Max under the leadership of Prof. Ala, and Mr. Abdullah for organizing this conference. And finally, I wish all of you a fruitful discussion and a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next, let us all welcome Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Sri Kumar Chakravarti, Director Postgraduate Research and Innovation, for his speech. Please welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Nur Rashida. Thank you, Dato Vice Chancellor and Dr. Iman. And once again, congratulations to Dr. Iman's team for organizing yet another wonderful conference, fully done online, to ensure that you are actually sustaining the environment and not having too many people together at a time when the world is in red alert. Okay, as much as I talk about red alert, let me change the color to something else, green. So at this point, our theme of the conference is green technology. So moving on from red alert, which is COVID, we move on to green technology, which is what is the theme? Sustainable environment. Okay, but I'm not here to talk about your sustainable environment or green technology. I am here today just to help you guys start off the day on a good note by closing your eyes and imagining something. When I say close your eyes, let's all close our eyes now. Usually we close our eyes for prayers, but then we don't need to pray because prayers are always, blessings are always there. The universe listens to us. But at this point, we are closing our eyes to imagine the last scene from a Hollywood movie called I Am Bolt. This movie came in 2016. It is a biopic about Usain Bolt, the fastest runner in the world. So let's close our eyes and imagine the last scene, 2016 Olympics. The whole world is cheering and Usain Bolt starts his run. And within 9.86 seconds, he finishes his first 100 meters run. And he wins gold for it. He won a lot of money for it as well. Money is a different story. We'll talk about it later. So he won a gold medal for just 10 seconds of intense running. After the race, his interview in the same movie, he said that I ran till the extent that I wanted to die. I fell almost dying. His role is to expend all his energy within that 9 seconds. So what did he do after that? The next few days, few weeks, he was sitting, he was eating, watching TV, relaxing, went to the MAHSA, went to physiotherapy, and he sort of cooled down because he expended all his energy in just 9 seconds. Now, on the other hand, let me introduce you to Kipchoge, who is a marathon runner and is the 2020 and 2016 Olympic marathon champion. Now, his story is different. When he starts running, he runs 42 kilometers. He doesn't run with the intention of expending my full energy. When he starts running, he realizes that I need to run 42 kilometers. I need to conserve as much energy as possible to sustain myself for 42 kilometers. Now, how do marathon runners run is an interesting a story by itself. There's a separate book on how to run your marathon. But one thing I can tell you, that marathon runners, when they run 42 kilometers, at the end of every kilometer, they tell themselves, one more kilometer to go, one more to go, one more to go. And that's how they sustain themselves for 42 kilometers. But if they were to run like, let me run, let me expend my full energy, they can't even finish 1 kilometer. So the main game of running a long race in life is to conserve your energy and make it more sustainable and push it further and further. So the difference between Usain Bolt and Kipchoge is that Kipchoge is a person who has the same energy as Bolt, but he releases the energy in spurts. He doesn't give away the whole energy. A child who gets a box of chocolates from the mother does not like to finish it to the whole box the same day. The child likes to take one by one each chocolate a day because the child wants it to be a sustainable pleasure or a treat, so it lasts for a longer time. That is how the human mind is. Okay, so now you can open your eyes. I'm done with the imagination. Moving on to a little bit on history. A lot of Hollywood movies have been taken in many historical places and portraying historical characters. Egypt, Cleopatra. Pompeii, the city of Pompeii that was buried by the volcano, Mount Vesuvius. Varanasi, the age-old historical city in India, which is said to be gifted by the gods. Jericho, another historical city from in the West Nile between Israel and Palestine. Now, these all existed between 10,000 to 3000 BC. Now, this is not a history class here today, but the reason I quote these places is at that point in time, these were the highest populated places in the world. Around 8000 BC, the Indus Valley civilization had a population of 10 million. And at that time, how did these cities flourish? These cities had a perfect ecosystem. They had wind energy, they used wind energy for all their activities. Solar energy. Now, we use solar energy here. We have solar panels in the roads as we drive in the highways. But in those days, we didn't have solar panels. Sun came in directly. Sun is free. Sun is a gift of the universe. And we used it at that point. Now, if you read history books, you will realize that in Jericho and in Egypt and in Indus Valley civilization, they followed something called crop rotation. If you have 4 areas of crop, you grow rice, wheat, maize, and something else. And in the next season, you grow wheat, maize, rice, and something else. You keep rotating. It helps in diversity. And for these fields, they had water bodies which brought in water like channels. No pumps at that time. And a lot of green spaces. So these aspects made all these cities survive for 12, 14,000 years ago when we did not have electricity, we did not have water pumps, we did not have the facilities of today. Why? Ask yourself why. I'm sure you've all gone for holidays to Cameron Highlands or Genting Highlands, and on the way to Cameron Highlands, you would see many plants growing in glass houses. These are called terrarium, where you have a glass house in which plants grow. Now, what is this concept based on? Well, actually, the earth itself is a terrarium. It is a closed system like a glass box, where automatically everything cycles. Nitrogen cycles, water cycles. The water evaporates, it comes down as rain. Carbon dioxide cycles. The sun pays the bills. The sun pays the electricity bills. You don't need electricity. The sun gives you free energy. And sustainability occurs, which means you're maintaining the balance. So for this terrarium or the earth to flourish for so many billion years, it requires just the sun and just the natural resources. It doesn't require you or me. You or me are doing the opposite. We are destroying the earth. So how has the earth been so successful all this time, and why are we now talking about sustainability, and why are we now having a conference? Because while all these billion years the earth has been having a wonderful life, at this point we are in a situation where we are told in the news that in another 50 years petrol is going to finish, because petrol is a fossil fuel. Fossil fuel is limited. It grew, fossil fuel developed under the earth for a few thousand years, a few million years, and now we are using it all up. So in another 50 years we won't have petrol. But wait a minute, 50 years is a long time. I wouldn't live another 50 years. So let me enjoy as much petrol as I want. Anyway, it's not going to be there after 50 years. Well, that is what man is. We are bothered only about ourselves. We are bothered about the present. We are not bothered about the future. We are running a 100 meters race and not a 42-kilometer marathon. That is the inbuilt thought in mankind, that live for the present, don't live for the future. Unfortunately, that is what is happening because we tend to be a bit selfish. Well, rather than selfish, let me use the word self-significance syndrome. Now, this is a term which was self-significance syndrome, is a term coined by this philosopher. His name is Sadhguru. He says humans suffer from self-significance syndrome, which means we give importance only to ourselves as much as the university is selfless. So much so that we give importance, when I say ourselves, only those who are close to us. So those of you parents who are out here, you would tell your children that I want you to score more marks than the others in your class. But what about others in the class? They are also children of other parents. Rather than thinking that I want you all to do well. That is because we are connected to just that child. We are connected, that is ourselves. We are connected to ourselves. When you watch a Hollywood movie, you would find a hero, an action movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone, you would see that the hero shoots bang, 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 bang. He shoots thousands of bad people or terrorists. Thousands of them go falling all around. But at the closing scene of the movie, one bullet hits the hero on the side of the shoulder. You feel really sad. You're really worried whether is he going to live or survive. And he goes hobbling through a waterfall. You're worried whether he's dying or not. Why is it that you're not worried about the 1,000 other enemies he killed and you're worried only about this one hero who got a bullet wound? That is because you are mentally connecting to that person. That is the selfishness of the human mind. We believe in just loving the people with whom we connect. So we believe in living life for the moment. We don't want to be sustainable. If we are sustainable, we wouldn't even be making movies where thousands of people are being killed and one person is victorious. If the villain is victorious, you get angry because you are already connected with the hero. So, as much as we are selfish, the universe is selfless. That is why the universe has been living for 14 million years. The Big Bang, I'm sure you all know what is the Big Bang. I'm not referring to the Big Bang Theory on Netflix. It is a sitcom, a comedy sitcom, which everybody watches in the present generation. I refer to the actual Big Bang hypothesis. This Big Bang hypothesis is about the creation. And all of what has come into existence now is started roughly about 14 billion years ago. And at that time, matter was just a very small ball the density was infinite. It was so dense, you can't explain infinite. And this exploded and expanded. And as it expanded, it's still expanding. It expanded within a few seconds, but it's still expanding for 14 million years ago. So as much as the universe is expanding and the universe is becoming more sustainable by expanding. So the farther we move away from each other, the more sustainable we are. But the closer we move to each other, the more we love each other and the less sustainable we are, and we live for the present. So you guys tell me, is it good to stay at a distance or connect closer together to develop sustainability? Well, that's a bit more philosophical, but I think these are aspects that we actually have to discuss when it comes to being sustainable. So philosophy and physics is very close to the expansion of the universe or the Big Bang Theory. If you remember your physics, one of the theories that we memorized, we still remember that law of conservation of energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed in an isolated system. The earth is an isolated system. The universe is an isolated system. But man isn't isolated. Man cannot be isolated. I have to travel now from Saujana Putra to KL Central because they are closing the restaurant there and I need to have my last meal there. I don't care if I spend 3 liters of petrol or I spend the energy of an entire day traveling there because I am not an isolated system. I believe in freedom. I believe in living life for today. I'm not bothered about what happens after 40, 50 years. So, because of this, environmental sustainability is something that we need to think of. I am not touching the actual details of environmental sustainability because that is going to be spoken by the speakers today. What I'm telling you is a teaser trailer to make sure that you're going to sit for the entire day, hopefully glued to your computers or at least listening on Bluetooth. You have to conserve natural resources, protect our global ecosystem. Not only for now, for the future. When I say future, doesn't mean our children, means for the next few generations. I mean, again, mankind is probably the greatest villain to ecosystem development, because when we talk about future, we always think anybody in Asia would say, I am planning for my future. I want to build a house so that my child can enjoy. We think again only of the child. A very famous builder in a city who I know, and I know the city as well, I visited the city several times, started a multi-million gated communities project by closing an empty lake, a dried up lake, and building a huge gated community over it. His intention was, anyway, the lake is dry, and let me build a huge condominium facility over it. And he built a huge condominium. Unfortunately, half the units in that condominium were not sold even for 5 minutes later, because they could not source water for this. And there was a big uproar by the government as to how permits may be given for this. Now, why? The builder was thinking about the future, right? But unfortunately, he was thinking only about the near future, 20, 30 years ago, not about 20, 30 years down the lane, not about the distant future, like 100 or 200 years, where you are covering a lake bed, a river bed, and building a concrete structure over it. That is so-called sense of sustainability so far, which I hope in this conference we are able to remove this sense and bring in the prevailing sense that sustainability is much more, because we have increased farming, and farming has led to greater greenhouse gas emissions and deforestation, and we need more power than ever because we have a lot of technology growth. We are emitting a lot of waste products, more than nature can process. Now, it doesn't matter to me, the waste products don't come to my house or to my building, but it lands in the sea, where we have millions of thousands of tons of plastic floating in the sea. A month ago, I had a patient. A mother came to me bringing her child and said that my son is very obese. Doctor, look, he's got layers of fat, and even his chest is a boy in his pre-puberty. His chest is like the breasts of a woman hanging down, fat. I'm very careful about his diet. I make sure he eats good food. He doesn't even drink water outside. He always drinks only mineral water. But that is the culprit. When you drink mineral water, you drink mineral water from plastics. Every day drinking from plastics, you are taking BPO, which is a harmful chemical in plastics, which is one of the banned substances when it comes to environmental sustainability, which can cause gynecomastia, which can cause feminization in men, and it can cause breast cancer in women as well. So we think we are doing good by drinking water from mineral water bottles, but we are harming our own body. This is one of numerous examples where we think we are sustainable, but no, we aren't, because we aren't educated properly. We need conferences like what we're having today to educate us as well. Okay, so basically, I hope that the proceedings in the conference are very useful for all those participating. But the bottom line of the story is that we have nature to pay our bills. The most important energy source supplier for us is photosynthesis. And the richest source of energy is the sun. So we must make sure that we retain the productive capacity of the sun and photosynthesis, like how the Egyptians did, how the Indus Valley civilization did, and how all the other ancient civilizations did. Because at this point, we experience deforestation, soil erosion because of new buildings, and even growing crops is deforestation. Depletion of fisheries and loss of biodiversity. I was watching a TV show on Netflix where they said that to build up the tuna fishing industry, they were destroying dolphins. That again is a form of depletion of fisheries. So, to achieve what we want, we need to sacrifice a lot. There's a quote by, I have a lot of books with me. There is a quote by this person, Jay Shetty. He's a very famous YouTuber and YouTube influencer, and he has said in this book, now if you don't sacrifice for what you want, what you want becomes a sacrifice. So you have to sacrifice a lot for what you want in life later. Otherwise, whatever you are thinking of becomes a sacrifice. You have to forget about it. And I finish with this book, a quote from Robin Sharma, again, a very great influencer. He says, your environment influences your mindset. Okay. And in terms of whatever environment you are in, that influences you. So you go for a more sustainable or a green environment, that influences you to be more sustainable in life. Now, with this preamble, I leave you to the actual discussion on how to make an environment I hope I have managed to keep you awake in the morning along with your regular cup of coffee, and wishing you all the best for a wonderful series and sequence of events for the rest of the day. Thank you very much once again for this opportunity to talk here today in this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that beautiful and inspirational speech. Something for us to ponder then. Thank you, sir, again. Okay, next we have our keynote session, and this keynote speech is going to be delivered by Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. A.R. Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman, Advisor, Architecture Technology Program, Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University. Let me tell you a bit regarding our speaker today. Professor Dr. A.R. Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman obtained his Part 1 bachelor degree from Southend Polytechnics, London, and Part 2 from University of Melbourne, Australia. He completes his PhD in Environment in 1994 at the University of Wales College in Cardiff on natural ventilation in low-cost housing in tropical countries. He started his career in 1986 as a lecturer at University Science Malaysia as an architect partner with Ilihani Architect, a registered member with the Board of Architects Malaysia, as well as associate member with the Malaysia Institute of Architects. He has done a notable research in the areas of integrated energy building design, green building index, and passive solar design elements. He has published papers in many international and national academic journals and written books and articles related to these areas. In addition, he has patented 2 design products and received 3 National Academic Awards and has been invited by university and other organizations as keynote and guest speaker at many locals and international seminars and conferences. We are so proud to have you here, sir, with us today. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman with his speech. Please welcome.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for your kind comments about my credentials, Miss Nur Rashida. Shall I start now? Share. Video live. Okay. Okay, this topic was given to me by MAHSA Faculty of Engineering, Industrial Revolution 4.0 for Sustainable Built Environment. But in the emphasis for my talk over here is on the Industrial Revolution 4.0, and at the same time I will still touch about built environment. Many years ago, many conferences and other seminars, international and national level, we talk about built environment. But when it comes to in the year 2005, then everybody realized that we need to go for sustainable built environment. That's the time where Malaysia begin its inception about going towards sustainable built environment, and not many people knows about it because of the word sustainable. Some people say sustainable means if you give me money, I can sustain whatever you want me to do. But that's not a right perception, okay? So there will be 3 parts in my talk, and there'll be about 40 slides. I put 1/40 for you to look at the progress, how much more time is left. And if you have any questions, just write down which slide that interests you and you need to ask, so that I can carry on with my talk without being interrupted. Okay, part 1, climate change and global warming. I think just now Professor Sri Kumar has talked quite a lot about sustainability, and he's done me a good favor because I cannot fill in the details, and he has given quite a lot of details. And he reads quite a lot of books and watch a lot of Netflix movie, same as I do during these times of lockdown or stay at home. What else is there to do? Yeah. But one thing I share the same sentiment with him is that both of us watch the movie not as a pastime, but we look at it from a critical point of view, critical mind. And I wish to thank Prof. Sri for helping me to supplement whatever I would say. Now, this is things, I will go a bit of introspection. Some of you may not understand how this whole global warming came about. It all started with human activities. For the Muslims who knows, it is also in the Quran that says that the environment impact was caused by human beings, and it's stated in the Quran as such. We human beings, because of our business as usual, we destroy all by industrial, commercial, residential transport. We use distance as usual will be the cause for changes in the climatic elements and on carbon dioxide, greenhouses that cause global warming. And that leads to major threats. And where there's so many references in the YouTube or whatever, and there's been a lot of conferences previously for the last 15 years. If you do not know what global warming is, I think I will ask you, where have you been? That you should not, by now, know what sustainability, global warming, and carbon dioxide and greenhouses meant, the terms. Now, because of business as usual, it affects our environment, loss of business, and life is not good for us. This has been shown by our recent stay-at-home ruling during this COVID-19, and because it is made by mandatory rules, you can eventually see the pause in our activity has caused quite a good impact on the environment. You can see Klang River has there's no what you call it, pollution in Klang River. The roads are very clean and the air is clean because no traffic intensity was around during that time. Okay, so we have to go for business unusual to change the cost. Our human activities will be different. Then that will improve environment. I know it's easier said than done, but then each vocation will have to look at it differently. So like Prof. Sri Kumar said, you have to think what's going to happen in 50 years time to come. And later on in my slides, I will show you the technology that changes almost every 50 years. Sustainability, just to highlight that nobody can run away from this blunt definition, which is meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That is, our own needs is our resources, natural, social, and economic. I know you need money for all of this, yeah? So that we just use whatever we need for our own time and leave some in this natural form for our future generation, for my children, for my grandchildren. Otherwise, so that means we are not being greedy. Otherwise, they would be suffering. So for their own needs, they also do need natural, social, and economic. And this is the Bundle report in 1987, and it hasn't changed until now. So you see here, at the national level, for built environment, sustainable development platform, knowledge platform, these are the knowledge that we have to look into and change our perception, our how we look at things rather than the normal business as usual. At national level, for buildings, we have the Green Building Index. It's a private sector incentive. They are the one who came together, especially the engineers, the ASM and PAM. ASM for Associate Civil Engineer Malaysia, and PAM is Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia. They came together. They say, why not we get to do something, because the other professions are taking away all our projects by bringing in their consultants to Malaysia to build their multinational buildings, and they need something, an index. This index is as a benchmarking. Previously, without a green building index, most of those involved in the building industry would just build without knowing how much was the performance of the building, whether it's releasing a lot of carbon dioxide or it's very wasteful in how the building process is. So now we have an index to check whether your building has met such a standard. Okay, the standards, there will be, if you go deeper into this, and you need another session for green building index, because it's quite massive to understand, because there's so many categories of buildings. Next, a low carbon cities framework is a government incentive. It's a government initiative. They come up with their low carbon cities framework, and now you have two documents at our national level for you to refer to. This I would highlight later on and emphasize for future programs in MAHSA, that you have to use this as a standard, as a benchmark, in order to be what I would say that as a competitive edge than the other institutions. And this will be your niche, because I've been trying here before I retire to get my university to implement such a benchmark, and then I found out that not many of the lecturers know how to translate this benchmark into the building. Okay, on the sustainable development goals, which you see at the background of what I'm showing now, this is international initiative. So this is under UNESCO, created by the World Green Building Index, WGBC, the Green Building Council, and Green Building Index, which is the private initiative, is registered with World Green Building Council, unlike our low carbon city, which is only localized for Malaysian climate. That's the detail of the low carbon city framework, and you can see that it covers quite comprehensive sectors of the built environment. You have the urban environment, you have the transport environment, you have the infrastructure environment, and you have building. So building here, like Dr. Iman said, that we have already waiting for our architectural technology to be implemented, and which is not far away. We could use all these criteria to be infused into the syllabus, the curriculum, and at least we know whatever we teach the student or impart the knowledge, there is a benchmark. You need to have benchmark, okay? Otherwise, it just as a loose end, anybody can argue, why are you doing this? What is it meant for? But when that benchmark, it is meant for the future, there is a standard to follow to. And then when you met that, you know you're going in the right direction. And this is the only way, most effective way you instruct the students who has a different mindset that go out, and then we can change the built environment. Otherwise, it is try and error that will never find out what is the true problem and the solution to whatever the built environment exists. The framework aims to encourage and promote the concept of low carbon cities and townships in Malaysia. There are a few townships. If you were to go to Green Building Index document, they will tell you there are at least now I think about 12 townships which I cannot recall at the moment that has already got this conferred to be a green building township. Then the second item is increased compatibility of cities township with their local natural system. Well said. Then guide cities in making choice decision towards greener. You can see the aims to be this one, but if this framework working together with the Green Building Index, that will really make an impact or a dent into our progress towards the sustainable big environment. This when you have a benchmark, you can measure, and anything that can be measured can easily be solved. Okay, part 2, population increase. Now, part 1, I talk about climate change. Part 2 is population increase, which is the item which I need you to be aware of. Excuse me. Population increase you cannot avoid. Even China, when many years ago, they came up with this ruling of one child population. Eventually, now they have to change because when you do such an artificial ruling like this and you're going against natural progression, then they realize that there's a problem about old age, and this is happening also in Japan. Okay, so later I'll show you. And you look at this population increase, number of years. Now, if you to understand this graph, which I'm showing, 210 means number of years. The figure in the middle means number of years. It takes 10 to 50 years. No, it takes 10% to increase to 50%. It takes 210 years from 10% to go to have an urbanization rate to 50%. And North America, 105 years. Europe, 150 years. But when you see in Asia, it's only about 95 years where the population for urbanization rate increased from 11% to 51 years. And the shortest will be from Laos, 60 years. Oh no, sorry, shortest will be Bhutan, 55 years. It takes only 55 years from 10% to 51 years to increase the population in Asia. And then this is phenomena. Why do Asians produce a lot of increase the population faster than those in the American, Caribbean, North America, and Europe? There will be a lot of answers, and social science will tell us the reason from their research. And you can see this. All these sectors are all from the Asian side. Okay, to show some example to indicate that the population is increasing, when you look at this photograph, this is taken in Singapore, a multi-story Asia insurance building. To the left, as in the box, as shown in the box, was the tallest in the city, and the harbor was used by traditional sampans and rowing boats at that time, during the colonial time. Now look at it. Where is the Asia insurance building? Over here, and look how many high-rise has gone up. This building is 3 times higher than the Asia building. And what does it mean when you see this concrete jungle? It means that energy, you have to demand more energy. Population is increasing. A lot of materials have been used. You need to demand more natural resources for such item, and you can see that there's a lot of boats going, and then you will release a lot of carbon dioxide to the air. Eventually, this will change the content in the atmosphere. You look at Java. Okay, these are all. Java is only 128,000 square kilometers. Indonesia is 1,900. So we just take Java, and the population is 138 million, and the density is 1075 per kilometer square. You look at Malaysia, we are 320, more than maybe twice of Java, and we have 30 million, and our density will be 86. But you look at Thailand, which is 514, they have got 70 million and 130 kilometer, 130 square meters, 130 over per square kilometer. But you look at Singapore, this is where the phenomena is. Total land area is 695 kilometers square, and the population is 5.5, and the density is 7,252, and graphically it's shown like this. And you look at Singapore, this almost you cannot see the graph, and you can see Singapore when it comes to this one, 697. Then you look at it, its population that much, but the density is that much. So I think it's more critical in Singapore, and that's why their green rating is very strict than ours. They call it, I think, the green star, if I'm not mistaken. No, can't remember what. Because that's also another, talking about this green building and all this green building index is also another topic by itself. So if Singapore is very strict and they are implementing it seriously about the green approach in the building environment, and it's a good place to go for references. So and I ask myself, can Singapore be used as a reference for mega city or city compact city development? Because a lot of high-rise building and all that, and they're trying to bring back the greenery into the landmass. So congestion will produce heat. Of course, if you all are physics-minded and engineering, you know any that is congested will always produce heat, further aggravating the global warming phenomenon. And we need technology to dissipate this heat, and it comes from overcrowding and urban heat island. So what is the way? So to ask architect, they say, well, skyway is to reduce congestion if you have a limited piece of land. All right. And this is being shown at Marina Hotel in Singapore, which means a normal ground activity where you have swimming pool and plants and all that, being given a new positive sensation to different latitudes, bring up to the top. By doing this, you save a lot of space on the ground by not maintaining a lot of greenery, plants a lot of trees, and still produce a lot of carbon dioxide, and there's a lot of oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide. That's what the trees do to help to balance the whole item. Huh? This is how it looks like. But in Malaysia, when you look at it, we are still thinking in the conventional way, where you have kampung baru over here that cannot be developed due to other legal matters tied up, and that's why one piece of land would have about 12 or 13 owners, and some of them are dead, and it takes a lot of time to find out, to get them to agree to let go of the building. And this is up to now. Recently they were saying they have to do something about it, but up to now I've not heard what was the result, what was the outcome of this research on it. And definitely this is a free land, and you can see a marked demarcation of Kampung Baru and the one in KL, where lots of building going high rise, but it is built by the business as usual, where you have aircon, which is not star rated, it's not energy efficiency, and you have a lot of other things. And you can see that the need to grow a lot of greeneries on the ground level to absorb carbon dioxide, because without this you have a concrete jungle. So previously it was like this, something like Kampung Baru. Then you have that due to different technology and progressions. Now, what should be the third direction that we need to go? And like I say, and those who speak from Dr. Iman and Professor Sri, this is what we need to do: sustainable, and how to make sustainable, and as well as progressing at the same time. And also bear in mind that population is increasing and land is limited. Okay. So part 3, technology. Technology. You look. Someone has done a research. Someone from Russia has done a research. They observed that there has been a new technology that came about. It takes about 50 years, roughly, just an average 50 years, for the technology to be used to reach the upswing by the population and use until it reached to its optimum. Then maybe some other things have been discovered, and then but not popularly commercialized yet. And then it became a downswing. For example, just an example of the current situation, and the handphone was from 2G, then we go for 3G, now 4G. Now everybody's getting ready for 5G, but the infrastructure is not there yet in Malaysia, and yet they advertise for 5G. Okay, so this was done by a definition of the conductive wave. We call this 50 years is a wave. The wave conductive comes from this guy known as Nikolai the Conductive. It's a long-term cycle present in capitalist economies that represent long-term high growth and low growth economic periods. Okay, and he noticed that it's approximately a 50-year cycle. So bear this in mind, because the next item will also be the same about conductive waves more in detail. These are all the other the sectors that shows the progression in for future 50-year time period. But we look at the technology. Okay, wave number 1 happened in 1780s, and it goes upswing to 1815, and then from 1815 it plateaus and then goes to 1848. What was the technology? It's cotton spinning and iron products, water wheels, and I can't see the word. I'm sorry, I got this from a book. Then we have wave number 2, railways, steam power, and mechanization. So this one is already considered outdated. They are into this, and from 1848, it begins here to 1873. The technology was railway and railway equipment, steam engines, machine tools, and I can see also. Okay, then we go with wave 3. We have the electrical equipment, heavy engineering, heavy chemicals and steel products. Wave 4, we have automobiles, trucks, tractors, and then wave 5, we have this information construction technology, where we are now. And there will be a wave 6, I think, which is in the now. We are still groping about it in the wave 6. So you can see the technology increase, and at the same time, while the technology has improved and matured, there is also population increase gradually. So technology improve and increase gradually, because population is many. You have to have technology trying to solve the social problem because of population increase in a land which is not expanding. So when land is not expanding, population is increased. When the countries are all getting very desperate, then they conquer with each other, then they'll be starting a war. Okay, so bear in mind, technology is the one that influence our lifestyle in the future. That's why when we discuss about architecture program, I quite agree that we have to include the word technology, and that marks as the impetus or a new wave of building professional. When you talk about IR 4.0, okay, this is where we want to meet. The previous one was, just to recollect, I talk about the climate change, and I talk about technology, and I talk about population increase. You must bear in mind that these 3 things are the one that we will always be facing in future. If the government are wise, they should base their policies on these three items. How you combine them together and solve. Maybe places like Sahara Desert, there are a lot of land and very few population. So land is not a problem, population increase, but they need technology because of global warming. So, and you need a lot of aircon. So how do you make aircon as economical as possible? So when you talk about IR 4.0, these people are thinking about big data. The moment that when you have population increase, you have a lot of data, you have to do AI analysis. And number two, you have horizontal and vertical integration, cloud computing, augmented reality, industrial Internet of Things, 3D printing, autonomous, and I think MAHSA has got 3D printing, autonomous robots, simulation, cyber security. Don't ask me in detail because I'm an architect. I think more of this is in engineering. Because the way I look at it, now we cannot be working separately. The engineers, the mechanical engineers, the electrical engineers, the civil engineers, and architects. Now we have to work together because you cannot separate one from the other. Otherwise, it'll be a lot of wastage in between. So the fourth IR, although is concerned with, areas that are not usually classified as industrial application in their own right. It can be relevant to areas of concern such as smart cities. Now, that smart cities really need the cooperation and the collaboration and the work togetherness between all the different professions in the build industry. All right, so it is good that NASA is thinking of putting in architecture, because you all cannot live by yourself, because when you do engineering, you must understand that whatever research you do or whatever products you come up with, you have to apply it somewhere. And for the architects, they have to build smart cities. And one smart city is comprised of individual buildings. It's a group of, and per building is like the cell of our body. If our one cell is healthy and many cells are healthy, then the whole city is be healthy. So this is the aim to go for. Right, I've been reading quite a lot of books, just like Professor Sri Kumar. He writes a lot of books, and I read books on environment. After reading this book on microtrend, I just read it. Then that was the one that acts as an impetus that I got interested into sustainability. Okay, after reading book on environment and understand the power of pool. Then I read this book on pool, then I tend to make a connection between microtrends and the power of pool. And then I can see new banker trends developing. And then from the physics and nature and the future and the nature of the future, I'm not convinced. I read more books written by different authors of the future and also by the previous Vice President of America, Al Gore, the future. And I realized that the ICT to be the new digital age. And that will be known as the sixth wave. Remember just now I talked about conjunctive wave, which goes up to the fifth wave, but the sixth wave have not been included inside that reference by Sir Nikolai. So the sixth wave, by you referring to the sixth wave, the content inside the wave, we can strategize by being the blue ocean for MAHSA to go ahead in their syllabus towards sustainability. We will be the first one to have a blue ocean strategy and open up files for the future use, such as smart energy, smart mobility, smart technology, healthcare, building, infrastructure, citizen, to be used in our curriculum and be expert in it, and be the point of reference by other universities, and that will help us to design smart cities by Anthony Townsend. Okay, so the acronym SMART means so many actions require technology. because of the progress of people who discover a lot of inventions. Yeah. So remember this slide I showed you earlier. Keep in mind where it is going to be in the next slide. All right. Now, before 2018, where there was a drastic change of government in the national transformation in the year, another 50 years, this was coined up in the policies, but never implemented because of the political upheaval. From the conjunctive wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we have the sixth wave. All right, the sixth wave is talking about the new digital age. All right. So I showed you this graph before. You bear in mind it's all about population increase, which happens in the Asian side. It's a phenomenon which I do not know why we Asian from different countries produce quite a lot. The sudden upheaval. All right. Then we have this climate change graphs that shows the deterioration of our universe. Of our planet. And this is the solution: smart cities. Forest city is a smart city, but at the moment now, because there was no demand due to the impact of the COVID. Recently, I read they have only sold about 10% of this forest city, which was already done in the year 2010, if I'm not mistaken. It's almost calling, but it's unable to be sold to the locals. But most of them taken by foreigners, Singaporean, but not many. Okay, and you can see that we're talking about population increase. This is happening, right? You have climate change, and you have technology. So these three things must act as a base, as a platform to whatever policies in your syllabus or in your curriculum that needs to be revamped or modified to teach the students, for coming students, and hopefully this breed of students that graduated will show a difference in their thinking towards the environment and be recognized by the employers outside. Okay, I can understand that I'm saying is all the good things, but when you go for national transformation by doing all this, what I've already mentioned, there'll be a lot of problems that coming up with urbanization because of our low-level technology is a long way to go, right? We have to, the fast speed. What it means over here is that technology is easy to invent and to come up with, but the social mindset to adapt is slow. So this is our challenge, because you need the human manpower to adapt towards the technology, and then we can solve. Now, not only that, there'll be cultures, there'll be religious beliefs, there'll be other things that influence our actions, that some people may not agree with this sort of technology. That is the government's problem. They have to come up with the balance, how they can use technology as a tool to please the populace. Mega trends. I would encourage you guys to read this mega trends. Is by Sarwan Singh, 2012, Implication for Future of Life. In it, he has got 7 different chapters as shown, the key parameters and all that. And on the gist, it's talking about renewable energy, that is solar power, wind power, wave power, and so many energy that you can get. Now that the climate factors are is changing quite drastically and can be very wild, we can use their power to generate energy. And you have smart mobility. We have to have infrastructure supporting low emission advanced mobility. We are talking about driverless car, whatever it is. Now we have also a flying car. It's already under production in Bulgaria, and they've done it successfully from one airport to the other airport and go to office. You can see that in the YouTube. I've no time to put it inside here. And when you talk about smart technology, there must be connectivity and convergence. Okay, that's very common now. Like our handphone, we have WhatsApp group. We connect with each other, and then we converge because of our similar interests. Okay, then we have healthcare. We have e-health. MAHSA Academic is one of them. We are still growing, developing MAHSA Academic. That's just an example. I can't think of anything else. Maybe you're aware of, you can bring it up. Then you have green building. This is where I've been engrossed in since I was working in USM in 2005. I already involved in it until I retire. Green building. Then green concept in all forms of city infrastructure, where the engineers has to come in. That means your concrete really release a lot of heat, and you create green building, you create global warming. How can we do something about it? Okay, smart citizen. Yes, we need smart citizen, and people like me now, I have to rely on my two children, my two sons, on the IT, because I'm not IT savvy. I just memorize and do it because I'm already past that age. Okay, so we need smart citizen, and we hope for the young folks, the young guys, the group of young entrepreneurs to come up with this and implement it. And we just use it. For us, it's just like driving a car. We don't need to know how to know what sort of petrol, the engine, or whatever power you need. We just drive a car. Okay, for my age. Okay, with all these things I've read, I came up with my own criteria. If you were to go towards one smart city or a new version, and I try to foresee myself that in future, probably our building will have this criteria. Nobody owns any landed property. Well, I can understand that only the rich people probably can do it. But it all depends on architects to come up with attractive strata titles, which means they design high-rise building like Singapore did. Very interesting high-rise building. You don't mind staying at level 9 or level 11 or 11 level 2. But it's the design inside is interesting. And the property for critical use only for heavy industries, airports, like you want to go to the airports, transport of heavy trucks, containers, and landed property also as a carbon sink. So we can grow a lot of trees back. Well, from the previous Prime Minister number 8, which is Tan Sri Muhyiddin, he has made a policy that the nation to plant 100,000 trees all over Malaysia. Okay, and that's ongoing, which means that he knows about this carbon heat sink, drastic reduce of land transportation, trucks, ambulances, emergencies. So because we have to use efficient light rail transport system, forget about cars owning. You want to use cars, you have to use car sharing. So I know I like to drive my own car, but that kind of habit, if you don't instill it to the young folks and they want to go from one place to the other, they use the SkyTrain LRT they are very efficient time. Yeah? A good blend of natural and big environment, then that becomes a livable cities. And ecology, you have to have agrotecture, where you can use the ground for agrotecture to support food for the population. Okay, part 4, just to give some examples of what I have done during my tenure as a lecturer, as a researcher. First, this is not what I did, but just to show you the future thinking of other people, how one can travel to and fro on a vertical basis, not destroying the environment. So you go out to there. These are all highly efficient, and you have flying car, which also a reality right now. But we do not know how much it costs. And let's say from KL to go to Penang, you don't need to go over land, but you can go towards use the sea to travel. If anything happens, it's just uh, dive into the sea, and then you won't cause a lot of. But then by doing such a scenario, you can create the future content of your syllabus, your curriculum, the what you can teach. So for the engineers, okay, for the laws, the legal matters, what will happen if aeroplane falls down, if the flying car falls down, what's this insurance like? Those can be predicted, okay? And the powerful technology changing the planet. Of course, there have been talk about this, but not people knows. They thought this thing leave it to the expert. But it's interesting to hear that we ourselves will approach, and it's good now for the universities to be aware, because they are training and they are changing the mindset of the students. For those who are already retired like me, I don't need to, but I just can watch like a armchair critic and just see what's happening, and appreciate that things are changing and people are adapting towards progress. So I'll give you an example, a scenario. You can see there's a lot of jungle, isn't it? But when population increase, a lot of these trees will be cut down, and you have built a lot of building. And many developers who cut down and they do development, especially in Cyberjaya. I see many landed properties, terrace houses all lined up. There is no imagination about it's still rank and file. A lot been destroyed, and I see what can be done. So my idea was, why can't we do this? We do on intensification of development. So per area, and this is just example. I'm not showing you that exactly that it has to look like that, but different place. Let's say this is Puchong, assuming, and this is Kajang, and that will be Cyberjaya. That will be where what Merbo is. So we can connect each other with our LRT, like I mentioned earlier in previous slides. So you can still maintain the green, that will absorb the carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. And what we want is all in one place. So you travel. You can travel to go and see and visit your relatives staying somewhere else. Okay. Now, to have those changes, to make it develop, the three changes that enable and accompany the innovation, they fall into three categories: development of new technologies, and things are developing. Researchers are doing it. There's a lot of research happening in universities, and when we have research, there might be changes in the market or the demand for new energy technologies. So this is the number two is one I'm thinking about. Why we should teach students, we should know what to expect in the future by creating scenarios of what is coming up in the future, and then our content should be based on all these things, and then we teach students on that. If you are not aware, if the lecturers here are still not aware, go towards there are a lot of references. Go to all the seminars, and then create the what look at it in a critical point of view, and refer to your syllabus and see where you can make changes towards it. It may not be happening, but there should be a start. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Changes institution. That's right. I'm just saying that link, enable, encourage. We, the education institution, are the one they link these two components together. The top one and number 1 and number 2. All right. True and lasting innovation happens when all these three changes together. That can be proven. Otherwise, certain section goes a bit further, certain are being left behind, and you need the willpower of those ministers, and the willpower, the willpower of them to agree, and that is not an easy task when they keep on arguing in the parliament. All right, now What? No? Now, okay, I've just mentioned this. You can't study sustainability as a separate subject. It is integral to all subjects being taught. It is the underlying glue that connects structure and NEP, lighting, landscape. It has to be ingrained in the consciousness of students. And that is the biggest challenge right now, because a whole bunch of kids coming out of schools of architecture still see our sustainability as something external. And this is true during my time when sustainability is taught just as a subject by me. But the other subjects did not gear towards this direction. There should be the base, everybody should be in synchronized and teach sustainability, because during that time everybody thinks sustainability with different definition. Okay, then we must have quality education, and you look at this background, it is sustainable development shown by the UNESCO. Okay, right now, for example, this is possible, but it's not for my research. Innovative hydraulic doors. You have to understand the climate of Malaysia, how it behaves, and then you can design for comfort. All right. The top one could be solar shading that double up at generating electricity, and then when it's at night, you allow cross ventilation, because during daytime, outside temperature, the air is hot, it will bring inside, and this is very uncomfortable. So outside, you may need to bring this blind down and switch on the aircon. But the electricity is being provided by the top. This is my invention. If you were to hear Miss Nur Rashida did mention that I've got 2 recognition award, especially for invention. This is one of them. It is to cool the attic of the house. The top is a solar panel, and the bottom one is a extractor fan. And this solar panel provide electricity to electric fan to extract hot air out of the roof. And when the attic is cool, the ceiling is not hot, and when you switch on the fan, you switch on cool air. Otherwise, if you notice, if you want to make a trial, existing house, when the ceiling is hot, we switch on the fan, you get hot air being circulated. This can be challenged to me now, and anybody who wants to try, they can go back and contact me earlier, and it has proven that it will reduce the temperature. And when the building, the inside is cool, you use less aircon, and that's where you reduce. And aircon would produce a lot of carbon dioxide. Okay, so that's it. Sorry, this double. So where can you use that high HTV? I call it hybrid turbine ventilator. You can use it in your own house, okay, or you can use it in the shop. Have it different color just to identify which is your unit. Okay, this is another of my research. The solar panel, which the first 4 is a different type of solar panel, the other 4 different type, and the other 4 is all different type, just to check which solar panel is more efficient under the same sunlight. And this is mobile. And during when I did this, it was the first mobile solar panel in Malaysia. Now, I do not know whether they have it now or they have static. Static means you have it like that and it does not move. But this one, it moves according to the movement of the sun. Like this is the morning sun, and when it gets horizontal, it's the afternoon sun, and when it gets in the evening, you get the evening sun. You know why I move it? Because efficiency comes when the light rays fall on the solar panel at a 90-degree perpendicular. Because when it's sloping, you will lose the energy. So this is a master student's project. He's now also a lecturer in my previous institution. That's also another one, another talking about solar panel, the top one is you get solar lights to come in to heat up, and you get the solar to generate electricity or the heating coil underneath to cook your food. So being a lecturer, you go to your university and lecture in the morning for about 3 hours and come back, you see by the time you come back, you see your food is already cooked. This research was not complete because my previous student back out. She find it a bit boring. So this can be done in MAHSA if somebody wants to take it up, because what we want to know what kind of food can be cooked and how long. And by doing this, you reduce a lot of energy, and you can use all the other food you want to cook fast by using the conventional energy. Okay, so Malaysia has come up with this Smart City Handbook, Malaysia, in this year, all right, by having collaboration with the British High Commission, Kuala Lumpur, how technology and data are shaping the future of the Malaysian city. If you can get hold of this book, it's good for you to refer for your own knowledge and all that, what is Malaysia doing, and then you can gear your direction, your content of your curriculum and syllabus towards this our future city in Malaysia. Okay, the COVID crisis is boosting innovation. Yes, sometimes by unfortunate items will also be giving good impact on other type, like especially innovation with the emergence of brand new ideas, like having this online. The thing, then that means this technology about online teaching has got to be quite sophisticated. And business, if you don't, then business have been forced to adapt or face extinction. So what makes challenge daunting is the fact that the world population and also the demand for energy and natural is expand significantly over the remainder of it, to reaching to 9.8 billion of human beings. Sorry, the last one was supposed to be 12 billion. I accidentally took 120. So by the year 2100, it will be 12 billion approximately. Okay. And from the Malaysian Handbook, His Excellency Malaysian British High Commission to Malaysia did say that the world is becoming increasingly urbanized, with cities growing at an unprecedented pace. According to the United Nations, more than half of humanity already lives in urban areas. And this Datuk Haja Zuraida, the previous and also the present now, also repeating based on our Malaysian strategy towards it. Okay. So what is a smart city? Everybody, previously somebody, the Brother Report has come up with their own definition, and then smart city, everybody is trying to come up with their own definition. But the best definition comes from Smart Cities Council, that says that uses information and communication technology to enhance livability, workability, and sustainability. Right? 1, 2, 3. Right? So smart city is not new. Amsterdam has created, but we didn't see the impact. Maybe if you want to get the lecturers who want to teach all this, the lecturer or the get MAHSA top management to agree that they send you to Amsterdam to see what is like for you and try to bring it back, the new knowledge back to Malaysia. One has to travel to widen one's mindset and scope. The smart city is a city that uses information. Again, like I said, Smart City Council. All right. Now, we're almost finished now. RR40 has got 9 different components, and we now related to building and industry. I mean, the building environment. So how can we use that with? And this is our end product. Ideas from the papers that is to come now when we listen to come up with smart cities. Thank you. Dee?
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that speech, wonderful speech. And I hope that everyone will be benefited by the speech. We are humbly appreciate your presence here and your sharing session with us. Okay, now I would like to call upon Dato Ikram to present the e-certificate of appreciations to our presenter. Please welcome Dato Ikram.
Assalamualaikum.
Dato Ikram, your mic is mute. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yes.
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 All right. All right. Okay. Well, as I said before, Prof. Malik is a friend from the time we were in Cardiff, and I can still see the same fire in you, Malik. Still very passionate about all this, and
Yeah,
I
because
hope.
I'm still in Malacca. Yeah.
Yes, I hope we can work together because I think, as you know, we are building a kind of a eco city at the back of the campus. I think
Oh, good.
Dr. Iman will be able to brief you on that. And I think all your ideas we can try it out. I've never heard you lecture before, but this is the first time, and I'm very excited. Okay, so it's my pleasure, Malik, to present you with this certificate.
Yes.
Um,
Okay, how do I receive this?
we'll send it in the mail. We'll send it in the mail. And
Okay, I'll get it
this
printed from
certificate
Adida.
as a contribution
Okay.
to this conference. Thank you very much, Malik. And I hope to see you again.
Okay. Right. But before I leave,
Okay, thank you both Dato Ikram and our presenter, Professor Dr. A.R. Abdul Malik. Okay, thank you again. I hope that we will meet again in future if destiny permits. With this, we end our morning sessions. We will proceed with our parallel sessions. All presenters can proceed to your respective link. And good luck to all presenters, well, including myself. And see you this evening for closing sessions. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.